Welcome back to the channel. Today we have the A-writer want to ask some advices to his problem for his mess of situation. This is a three-part story. So make sure to like and subscribe for part 2 and 3. Hello, guys. I hope you are all doing well. I've come to the end of my rope and have no idea how to navigate this mess. A bit of background. I am 45 and my SO is 42. We have been married for 16 years and have 2 kids. A 15-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son. Our marriage was very rocky in the beginning, but we made it through those tough years and came out much better for it. We married young, so maturity wasn't all there yet, but we knew we loved each other and believed we could conquer any obstacle that came between us. I'm still not sure whether this was wishful thinking. Anyway, my wife has been a manager at a very big advertisement company for 3 years, and I've been in engineering for 7 years. Both our jobs pay well and provide our family with a pretty good lifestyle. We were a very tight-knit family. As parents, we always made sure to create great memories for our kids. No matter how busy we got, we always made time for them. Honestly, I consider myself a good dad and husband. I messed up sometimes when it came to my wife, but I did everything for this woman. It shocked me to my core when I found out she was in a long-term affair. My wife was acting distant. In fact, the last 2 years before this one were the hardest. She just didn't seem to like anything I did. She kept comparing me to her boss. Yes, I know now, and would always tell me how he would handle this or that. Can't read my mind. Well, my boss can, she would say. Don't take the initiative to take her out on dates and make her feel special. Well, her boss does that for his wife. Why were you so immature? I would ask what she wanted me to do to spice up our love life. Her answer was usually, don't ask, you need to already know and do it. So I researched and bought books, since I was clueless. Someone else had to have the answer. Anything I attempted was met with either half-hearted appreciation or bitter disappointment. My wife was never like this in the years I had known her, so I thought that inability to make her happy was something I seriously needed to fix. Little did I know, it wasn't me who was doing the fixing. The entire time, we were very close to her boss and his wife. They also have kids, and the kids loved each other. We brought them to our barbecues, family outings, the park, and game days at the arcade. They had been to our house numerous times, and we had been to theirs. It was no surprise that we became close. I would confide in her boss about our marital problems, and he gave me good advice. I thought he was a swell guy. Anyway, back to the discovery. I had grown emotionally tired from my wife's demands to better myself. By the time the marriage was done, I was honestly shocked by her attitude. Before all of this, I thought we had a great marriage. One night, she was busy laughing and giggling while texting someone. I was next to her in bed and was curious. The moment I leaned my head to take a peek, she viciously pulled away from me. She was angry instantly, asking me what I was doing. I told her I wanted to see what the joke was, and she told me it was none of my business and retreated to the bathroom. I think that's the day when I just knew, deep down, that there was an affair of sorts going on. I did not have proof, though. I made the mistake of asking her directly the next day. She was furious and denied any wrongdoing. I did not have access to her phone, but I wanted the truth terribly. I asked for her phone, and she refused. Only later during the night did she grudgingly give me the phone. Almost every text message she sent to specific people was deleted. I could tell because some conversations seemed inconsistent and others were downright ridiculous. I gave her the phone back, and we did not speak of it until a month later when I was able to get a buddy to check the phone and recover the deleted texts. My wife had gotten another phone prior and hardly used the one she handed to me. Some texts were recovered, and it was through bits and pieces that I finally had proof that there was an affair going on. And you already guessed it, it was with her boss. I just knew that if I confronted her then and there, she would find some way to weasel out of it, so I bided my time. I was a wreck, though. All I could think about was how it was going to affect the kids. The situation was horrible, and I cried in front of my buddy. I still did not want to give up on the marriage. So 3 days later, I bought How to Help Your Spouse Heal from an Affair. It's okay if you're shaking your head. I started reading, hoping that if I gave it to my wife, she would stop this nonsense. I wanted my wife back, and I wanted to save the marriage. I had planned on talking to her on that Saturday to work things out, but she told me they had an emergency at work and not to wait up on her. Of course, I contacted the workplace on the day to confirm the story she gave me and received no answer. They were not open on Saturdays. I tried her phone, but there was no answer. She came back home at 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday and immediately showered before coming to bed. I asked why she was late, and she dodged the question by saying that she already told me not to wait for her. I was sick of this. I didn't give her the book I brought. I was suffering, and she didn't care. She saw me suffering and didn't care. I contacted her boss's wife to find out from her if she knew anything. I was so desperate for stability, and to this day I don't regret doing that. She was as shocked as I was when finding out. She wanted to confront her husband, but I told her he would probably lie and try to hide it better, just like my wife had. We met at her house to discuss what was going on, and I gave her the little proof that we had. She wanted more evidence, so we both decided to gather evidence on each of our sides and compare them. I started snooping on my wife more, and she did the same with her husband. It was very easy on her end to find undeniable proof. Her husband was so arrogant that he didn't even delete the texts on his phone between him and my wife. The little texts I found earlier finally made sense, and we had a full picture of how long the affair had been going on, 2 years. The boss's wife was livid, and so was I. She wanted to get revenge on them, and so did I. They slept together everywhere, her house, my house, expensive hotels, business trips. It was sickening to read all that. They even sent each other pictures, but we decided to ignore the pics because we didn't want to scar ourselves with the images. We wanted revenge, but not an affair of our own. We both decided that if they wanted each other, then they could have each other. We both drew up divorce papers at around the same time. We were dead set on it. Our spouses didn't know that we knew, and we acted our part. By the time our ducks were in a row, they were at it again. This time, through collaborating with the boss's wife, we knew exactly where and how they were going to be served. We knew which hotel they booked for their weekend of fun. I personally went there with the sheriff. I waited in the lobby as the sheriff got everything working. My wife was called to come down from her room. She came down dressed in a bathrobe and nothing else, panicking and frantically asking me what I was doing there. It was quite a distance from our home, but not too far. The sheriff asked for confirmation of her name and information. She confusedly answered in the affirmative and was served. It was very satisfying seeing the shocked look on her face, but I didn't want to rub it in. So I decided to walk away knowing the job was done. She didn't let me. She was holding my arm, pulling me back and demanding to know what this was all about. I told her, "You had an affair, and I'm leaving you. Simple." She started screaming at me, pulling my arm hard. The sheriff had to step in and tell her to release me at once. She did so and started crying, telling me she could explain, that I had the wrong idea, that it was my fault. I was getting angry, so I left quickly to get home. My wife told her boss, and he panicked. From what I was told, he rushed home only to be served there. We didn't give them time to get their heads on straight. We blindsided them, just like they did to us. My divorce will be finalized in a couple of months. Hers might take a bit longer. Both my wife and her boss have been fighting us on the divorces. Neither wants to get divorced. The excuses I hear are that they never intended to leave their spouses. It was a purely sexual affair, nothing more. People have worse affairs and still come out with a great marriage. They up and would like a chance to unfuck the situation. I asked my wife what she thought the outcome of all this was. She said she was going with the flow and acted completely out of character. She is not that person anymore. I told her she's an idiot. People around me are calling me evil for not giving my wife another chance. My kids know what's going on, age appropriate, and they are behind me 100%. But they would like it if we stayed together. My resolve is slipping. Coupled with the fact that we still live in the same house and my wife is going to therapy and reading the book I brought. It's getting harder to stick to my guns. She says she's remorseful and will do whatever it takes. All I tell her is that she's sorry she got caught, and that's all I need to know. She's called me a bitter, resentful person who can't look past all the negativity. She apologized for it later, but I know that's how she feels. And that's the end of the first part of the story. What do you guys think about the story so far? Let me know in the comment section.